Hi, today is story day. Basically, the situation is very simple, straightforward. Well, normally everyone else sort of experience, but stay with me. It starts as follows. So personally, I knew this customer, right? We have done several inspections for this customer. Educated person, understands everything, still picking up the vehicles, cheap luxury cars, which are cheap, like let's say Porsche Turbo, Cayenne Turbo, Porsche Cayenne Turbo S, right? Cheap, 15-year-old. It's just there will be nothing left. It's just dog shit, right? Because everything starts to fall apart, and to repair those vehicles costs a lot of money. So you can easily spend another £15 in the next year if you buy wrong and if you don't check main things like full service history, main dealer only, or specialist only, both keys, right? And then MOT check. If you're not gonna do that, you're gonna cry in a bed later and feel sorry for yourself, right? No one will save you from this misery. Only you can do that. If you try to not to be smart, or don't try to be stupid, right? In delusion when you're gonna buy a 15-year-old vehicle, cheap, cheerful, and everything will be great, right? Seller will always tell you anything you want to hear. So he just brainwash you, and you will get your excitement will take over your mind, and you will lose all of your money in next year. So the moral of the story is, don't be stupid, mate. Don't make stupid decision where, let's say, God already tells you when seller actually refuses their inspection. So this story is about um, customer have found a vehicle which is 15-year-old, 13-year-old vehicle, right? And it was reasonable service history apparently, but this customer says the seller doesn't allow inspections. That's a red flag. And I told him, look, there's no point doing it. You're going to be wasting your time. But somehow, people being smarter than they are, or they somehow assume there will be light at the end of the tunnel. It could be, it could be right. But what happened is he ignored what I explained to him. I said, look, there's no point doing an inspection. They're not allowing it. However, as I was in this area, he said, look, I will pay for the inspection, just the basic, just a quick walkover. Okay, I said, look, okay, I will help you out, but like I said, it's your responsibility. So I went there, did basic checks. The place was already with some weird gates where they're locking things. The seller was kind of, just a random seller like you normally see in a small port cabins, just quick in, quick out, buy the car and just bugger off. No one wants to see you again. That sort of place, that impression the place leaves, right? So I did a quick check on a paint walk. They had some dings. The paint walk was quite good. A few smart repairs, but very good for the sort of 13 or 15-year-old vehicle. Check the VIN numbers just in case, matching if it was convertible, the roof was working, was good tires with good brakes. There was nothing. There's no obvious leaks. Engine started. It was warm, but it was started all right. Left it running. Asked them, can I do the diagnostic scan? They refused. They rejected. I was blinking my eye, thinking, but overall, it wasn't a dog, right? So they put a trade plate, so they allow me to road test. So I was just giving a direct opinion for the customer. So I sort of as a friend, right? But so we drove the vehicle, was driving fine, was selecting gears okay. Everything was sort of found. The oil level was okay. There was some sort of weeps in the middle of the engine, as it was a 3.2 liter V engine. Um, you know, what can you expect? It was clearly sort of reasonable car for its age. In general. I think it was £5,000 as well. So everything looked legit. No leaks. Cooling fan came on. Everything what you can visually see is sort of fine, right? I left it. The only thing, the key wasn't working, the fob wasn't working, wasn't locking and unlocking because it could be a body control module on these Mercedes cars, right? So I said, look, change the before you do anything, put a new battery and see if the remote works. So, so I left. So it was like Thursday, I think Saturday. I had a phone call, missed call from him. Called him back Monday. So the car went in limp mode. The warning light came on, engine management light. So obviously I don't know all the details in and out. So the customer took this vehicle to his garage. So they did a diagnostic scan and they found there was a speed sensor on the gearbox of one of the actuators. In the gearbox, it was automatic. So therefore, I'm not sure actually whether he went in the limp mode or it was the warning light was just on. I'm not sure whether the vehicle lost power. I didn't ask that many questions. But he phoned me. I said, look, this will happen. And he was right. He was right. I will never buy a car without an inspection, But this this particular customer, he had experience because we checked like 4 cars for him, and all of them was whatever looked good or looked great, he was just human. It was turned out to be a bad vehicle, and he didn't follow advice at the beginning. If they rejected the car, if the seller rejects the inspection, don't buy it. The moral of the story is even if you just looking around with friend, as I was with the customer, so that as a friend, right? Even the vehicle looks kind of alright, so that feels alright. It doesn't mean it doesn't have some sort of latent issue. So the moral of the story is never buy the vehicle without an inspection. Check before you buy. Make sure it has full main dealer service history, especially if you buy an old cheap car. Make sure you check it. I will stop this moral of the day. You do whatever you want to do, but this customer, so sorry, but that's what I'm saying. The point of what we do on inspections, all of our packages has diagnostic scans, so we check the main issues: battery test, charging, cooling system, transmission operation, any leaks, oil leaks, any potentially you can see water ingress in the boot, and any odors, any smells, carpets wet or dry. Diagnostic scans are done twice. After the ground checks, vehicle is left running when underside of the is checked. Depends on inspection packages. The underside is checked from on a standard and on a premium inspections. So the vehicle is left running. Even on a basic is left running because basic also includes diagnostic scans. So what I mean by diagnostic scan, while the vehicle is left running, all another checks are carried out. The oils, like I mentioned, the fluid levels, etc. The vehicle warms up, everything warms up, transmission warms up, alternator warms up, water pump, everything sort of starts warming up. And if there are any sort of discrepancies or any issues, there will be some audible noises from cold or from hot. The vehicle will not restart from hot, or might struggle to start from hot. Diagnostic checks when the fault's been cleared, how long ago the fault's been cleared, what fault codes are there, so the diagnostic initial scan is saved. An inspector checks the faults whether they are current, permanent, pending. On certain systems, they are quite important what faults they are and what it is. Could it cause any potential issues? Let's say particularly that gearbox issue, the gearbox sensor, or the or the solenoid for the switching, right? For transmission, for the gears, etc. So diagnostics can reveal these things. Uh, has the vehicle been clocked? The potentially mileages. It's not on every vehicle. It's not always straightforward. Because it's a generic professional scanner. Some cars, like Japanese, has less information, etc. But it's not important. So the main thing is to catch out that potentially what we do in an inspection is we are like a detectives, like a lawyer or like a prosecutor, finding information, asking seller questions. You know, if there are faults cleared and what's the distance since clearing the faults is why they've been cleared. Is there any service book? Is the service invoice present? Has there been any repairs carried out on a vehicle? And what has been done? Why? You know? So once the inspector is ready for the road test, the vehicle is taken for the harsh road test, not like you would be driving the vehicle to the local coffee shop or the local convenience store just to buy a milk on Sunday morning, but it's been driven harshly through different loads on the engine to stress the vehicle in general to see if there's any issues, like could it be potentially with ABS or anything. You move the seats, ABS light could come on, things like that, you know, stressing the engine, all the engine management system, transmission management system, stability control, air suspension, on different road surfaces, moving car sharply left to right, potentially, I don't know, wiring's loose somewhere, intermittent connections, things like that happens, right, under stress. And after the road test, obviously, there's another diagnostic scan carried out on if there are potentially some, how to explain, when you feel something is not right, inspector checks the live data, DPF issues, EGRs, things like that, which can pinpoint coolant temperatures. Certain data is visible, like start and stop, how many start and stop functions been, how many launch starts, etc. Depends on the vehicle, depends on the manufacturer, how much that information is available. And regards to those checks also, as I mentioned, inspectors like a detective, like interrogator, like a prosecutor, checks the service history, invoices, any major repairs been carried out potentially on a vehicle, when, how long ago. Usually when an inspector checks the areas like around the engine, if there's any fresh rebuilds on a gearbox or alternator starters replaced or anything, potentially, I don't know, high voltage battery being removed, anything where you can visually see engine rebuilt, some removed, anything, injectors removed, if it's you can see that potentially some repairs been carried out. Injectors leaking on a diesels, fumes coming out, etc. Swirl flaps, anything where you can visually sort of see and think something's not right, right? DPF starting to block when the back pressure is too high and starting to push from the turbo seals where the turbo overflow flap is for the wastegate valve, right? So there are always some sort of telltale signs of something, weeps of coolant, oil weeps somewhere. Sometimes people washing the engine bay areas or underside, you can see it's been washed. So that's the point of inspection. It takes like an hour and a half, 2 hours, on some cars up to 3 hours based on inspection. But that is the time where, like me, as an inspector, or anyone as an inspector could potentially identify if there some sort of latency, something potentially could come out. That's the point of inspection. So to make sure you check what you buy, check the documentation, check the invoices, check any major repairs, any rebuilds. If there is anything sort of majorly done, potentially it's a red flag, because people sell the cars because normally there's something went wrong. Once you rebuild a gearbox, it potentially ain't gonna be the same again. Same as rebuilding the engine. Potentially it ain't gonna be the same again, because you will have problems, especially if it's been done recently. Depends who's done it. Quality standards, poor silicon used, poor sealants used, things starting to leak, because somebody's been trying to rush the job, or just do it quick in and quick out. Same as when it comes to the engine rebuilds. There will be an issues in the short term, because you need at least 3-4 months, to see how it is, and it will be more likely under warranty. You don't want to buy something where you can see that something has been done, like let's say in a Porsche engine, 15 grand, 10 grand, turbos change, things like that. You don't know what's gonna happen, you know. Buying old cars, buying old cars, make sure, remember, you obtain extended warranty. The older the car, shittier the extended warranty will be. Nothing great there will be covered. Same as on the old luxury cars, supercars, from 15 years old, no one will cover anything, because there will be set prices based on a particular vehicle. There will extended warranty will priced up. Anything from 100,000 onwards miles, there will be no coverage. There will be just a shit coverage on extended warranty, just the basics like water pump, ignition coil, up to the £1,000 or £500 claim limit. We ain't gonna cover the engine, the gearbox. There will be certain aspects only covered, like the battery will be covered. Some basics. At least you will have something covered, right? But like I said, if you want to buy something reasonable, buy from 3 to 7 max, less mileage, less owners as possible, full main dealer service history, or specialist only if you want a good car. There are so many shit things around. There's so many shit sellers selling shit stuff, auction shit junk. They don't care what they're buying. Like on a car websites, predominantly small sellers, like on A approved, RAC approved. I see that on daily basis. They're selling junk, leftovers from auctions. Just be careful. Protect yourself. Otherwise, remember, when they're selling a car, no one wants to take the car back. They are consumer rights, but those are rights. That's not a warranty. If you are a smart person, if you're stupid, you're going to buy a stupid car, right? It's clearly a fact. It's been a century-long problem. I see this all day long. If you want to be smart, reasonable, buy from reasonable seller, reputable seller. Avoid port cabins, avoid shitty gates where they will lock it and you know you ain't gonna come back. No one gonna deal with you. No one will give a shit about you. Trust me, I've done it. I've been there. I've seen what happens. I've seen what the seller's ethics are. I can read them. Like a book. So just be careful. Protect yourself. Don't waste your money. Don't waste your time. If it feels is not right, it's not right. Don't even waste your time on inspection. Be smart. Learn to walk away. Don't get excited about something cheap, which will be a misery. Remember, don't get panicky. There are nearly 8 million used cars sold every year. There will be a car for you. You want a process to be smooth, easy, without the pressure, without somebody saying somebody first come first serve, or we already have 10 people interested in this vehicle. Let they sell it, right? You be patient. You take your time. It's like picking a right person in your life to be with. Take your time. Be careful. Take care. Hope it helps.